We created this program collaboratively with Watershed Stewards, and it incorporates the installation of best management practices to achieve a 20% runoff reduction, and it also includes some behavior change elements. And so what we're going to see is one of the initial pilot properties where we did actually a little bit more than 20% runoff reduction by using a rain garden, a conservation landscape, a cistern, and a couple of rain barrels. And we actually installed the project with our class of Watershed Stewards. And so we'll talk through that, and as we drive out, I'll just point you in the direction of other projects. And what we'd like to see is, we'd like to see these yards become the new norm of landscaping, and we're working hard to drive down the cost of individual BMPs and to also make it fairly accessible for people to do the 20% runoff reduction. So we've created a runoff calculator that helps people understand what BMPs they could install and how they could come up with the runoff reduction. Yes, so they paid 20% of the cost, and I think it was about $600 was 20% of the cost. And then we had some grants from Department of Natural Resources and some private funds that we used to put up the rest of the projects. But you know, to get the 20% runoff reduction, we're really trying to drive down the cost for individuals. So this year we're doing the same project in Linthicum, and the cost share there is only $100 because those folks just can't afford.
Good morning.
How you doing? Steve Shue.
Oh,
Bill Daniel. How you doing, Steve?
Hi, how are you? Sorry for the left-handed
Good.
shake.
No problem.
How you doing?
Steve Robbie.
Good to see you.
How are you?
Sorry.
It's all right. Thanks for coming out today.
Oh, glad to.
Yeah.
Thanks for the tour.
Yeah,
And I'm so glad Michelle's here too, because she's such a lover of native plants and
Master
BMPs.
gardener. She's a master gardener.
I don't know if she told you, but she actually instructed one of the courses, one of the classes a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's on
Really?
turf. I think we did turf
Turf,
management.
yep.
Oh, that's good. I didn't know that.
So I was telling Steve in the car that the goal on this property was to reduce runoff by 20% using a suite of best management practices. So we actually worked with a group of Watershed Stewards here in Hillsmere. There are 4 that are certified, and they've done a ton of work in Hillsmere, and we can talk through on the way down the other work that they've done. But they chose this area to demonstrate how other people in the community could reduce runoff. So we have a number of best management practices that range from rainwater harvesting to rain gardens. And we tried to identify what are the ones that would work the best here in Hillsmere. A couple of things about Hillsmere: there's a lot of tree canopy.
Yep.
And so you don't want to do a lot of digging of rain gardens in Hillsmere necessarily, because you would interrupt the tree roots.
Right.
But you want to capture the water. So here we have a cistern. So this cistern is underneath. It's a 200-gallon cistern. It captures water coming off of that roof, and then the outflow from that cistern is buried underground, and it actually daylights into the rain garden that we're going to see. It's a very unique property because the rain garden, we can actually do a rain garden in this yard because we didn't have trees in the front. So we tried to sort of try to get a treatment train to capture as much water as possible.
Gotcha.
I think you can just look around and see that there's an incredible amount of impervious surface here.
Yep.
And if you look at that drain back there, that drain's going directly into Duval Creek. And all of the water that comes off of this driveway also going directly to Broad Creek. And so there's a lot of need to capture as much impervious surface as we can. So let's walk around to the rain garden itself, and we'll see where the water comes out. You can see that the pipe coming out right there.
Yep.
And also the downspout, this downspout on the front corner of the house is also connected to that pipe.
Got it.
So what happens is the water comes out, and because there's a large volume of water coming here, we have a level spreader and a little pre-treatment apron with the rock. This is not necessarily typical of residential properties unless you have a large volume of water. So then the water spills out and it spills into our basin here, and it ponds to about 6 inches. And then the native plants help to soak up some of that water. The tree root or the plant roots help it to go into the ground, and it is dry within 24 to 48 hours. So it does not hold water, doesn't cause mosquitoes.
So 100% of the water that comes off the roof is managed.
In a 1-inch rainstorm. So it's built to the 1-inch rainstorm. This one actually has been handling even the 2-inch rainstorm or 2.5-inch rainstorm.
Yeah.
And it actually depends on how dry it's been. If it's been very wet, maybe the 2-inch rainstorm. If it's been very dry, there's a little bit more drainage capacity. But what happens if there's a big giant storm is that the water goes out over the second level spreader. And then it's dissipated through the plant, so it's not a big gush.
Right.
And then it trickles out exactly where it would have gone originally.
And these are all native plants?
These are all native plants, all locally native.
What are these
Oh,
plants?
okay, so this is butterfly weed. This is one of the host plants for the monarch butterfly. The main one is milkweed, but it also likes butterfly weed. Lots of pollinators like this particular plant. This is larkspur. This is another native. We've got hibiscus there, which is sort of the big showy tropical looking. We have purple coneflower in here. There's some solidega, which is goldenrod that will bloom yellow. We have some.
What's the little purple flower there?
The purple flower is. I don't know which one that is.
What is that?
On the spot.
It looks, I should know it. I should remember what it is. I'll find out for you.
It's a wildflower.
It's a wildflower.
It looks like a lobelia, I believe.
Yeah, could
So
be.
if a homeowner wants to create this sort of environment, are these plants available in
Yes.
nurseries, commercially available, or do you have to go out to the woods yourself and dig them up?
No, they are commercially available, and they're getting increasingly commercially available because people have been asking for them more and more, and on our website we have a list of nurseries where you can find them.
What's your website?
aawsa.org.
aawsa.org.
Yes. The reason that it's AAWSA is because we've helped other counties start Watershed Stewards Academy, so ours is Arundel Watershed Stewards Academy, to just make it distinct from others. So we also have on our website we're in the final stages of revising a contractor and homeowner manual to install these kinds of projects. So it would take you from the siting to the design to the installation, and then finally and most importantly the maintenance of these kinds of projects.
Right.
So we really want to try to get people as many options of how to install these things as possible.
But the nice thing about rain gardens too is that you have year-round interest. So these are evergreens. This is Ilex galbra. So the idea is that it can be landscapey. Some of the grasses, for example, they're going to have, as their seed heads form, they'll have their own show going on. The irises in the spring. And irises love standing water, so they can handle all of that. So you'll see how it's
Which ones are the
staged up.
irises?
So they're all the way down there. They're the real thick leaves down right by the apron area.
Yep.
And so it's almost like a pie. Think of a pie pan. And although shaped uniquely, it has that type of rim. And so those plants that can't handle a lot of water on their legs, they sit further up and serve as soil stabilizers and snipe shrubs.
And that's a great point, that these things can be landscaped to look however you want them. There's some nice cultivar native plants that are a little smaller. So if you have the kind of yard that's very, very manicured, you can landscape it to look very, very manicured. If you want the, butterfly, bee, sort of meadowy, wild look, it can look like that. So the structure is what's important. As Michelle said, sort of the bowl shape, the area where you can capture and let the water soak in.
Right.
And rain gardens are not appropriate in every place. The water has to be able to drain into the ground. So in the places where, and you can't have trees over top. So where we don't have trees, or when we have trees and when we don't have good soil drainage, we recommend pairing a cistern or rain barrel with what's called a conservation landscape, which is essentially a flat rain garden. And so the ponding that would be in the rain garden is actually held in the rain barrel or cistern until
dribbles out.
and then it dribbles out slowly. You got it. You're a pro. So we'd like to see people employ these kinds of practices throughout the county, and we're working hard through Watershed Stewards and through some of our resources to make that happen.
So the key to our model is that we're trying to get homeowners to do this ultimately at their own expense, or mostly at their own expense,
Yeah,
right?
this is a demonstration.
It's a demonstration project, but you know, one of the things that homeowners don't realize is how great a rain garden can look. And it could be a wonderful aesthetic addition to your front yard. So by having a demonstration like this, ultimately in a neighborhood where there are multiple rain gardens going in, neighbors look at it and say, hey, you know, that looks pretty good. They talk to each other, and it has a multiplier effect.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, people get used to it. This is not your father's Oldsmobile.
Right.
You know, this is a different lawn
Right.
than what we grew up,
That's right.
used to.
And we have them now in some of our schools and
Yes.
that are active. I've done a couple installations and organizations for it, and so you can actually turn them into educational opportunities as well.
Chain is only for decoration. It's only for show, for looking nice. So it does what the downspout would do, but essentially half of this roof is going into the one rain barrel, then spilling into the other, and then you can see the hose that's coming out, and so the land naturally leads the water into this side of the rain garden. So, so this rain garden is really capturing 3 downspouts. It's capturing all but the back left.
Now, why bamboo? That's non-native, right?
This is awful. This is such a problem.
Bamboo.
This is
Yeah, they're
such
supposed
a
to-
yes. This is such a
Are
problem.
we trying to eradicate this stuff?
Yes.